Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shaped the game. Made possible by listeners like Ken Trask, who made a secure donation at thecurlingshow.com. I'm Dean Gemmel, and in this edition, we caught up with the skip of a team that's going back to the Scotties from a province that doesn't give up its hearts easily. The skip of the team that just captured the 2009 Alberta Scotties Tournament of Hearts, Cheryl Bernard, welcome back to The Curling Show.
Thanks, Dean.
Hey, a great run for you guys through the provincials, even if the final by most accounts was not really a classic. But after a season of consistent but maybe not spectacular results in the ASHM World Curling Tour, why does your team seem to be playing its best right now?
You know, I think we were going really hard in the kind of the preseason there from September to December, and I do believe, you know, that all this Olympic and CTRS points out there, everybody's playing and trying to get it, and I think it burns you out. We, you know, end of December, we were pretty tired, and I think the break through Christmas was probably the best thing we could have, and we kind of came out with all guns firing in January.
You know, it's interesting. I talked to Krista McCarville last week, and she said the same thing about they got sort of so focused on the CTRS race that that it just consumed them, and it may have hurt their game.
I think it's gotten way too much. I don't know. You know, you need to focus on the game and winning and being excited about your game, and not who's winning 4 sheets over and how many points you get, because in the end you have to win in order to get to any of these competitions that you want to get to. So to be focusing on that, I don't think it's helping.
Talking about preparation and focus and everything else, Al Cameron of the Calgary Herald, and writes the blog there that I and every other curling fan should read pretty regularly, he talked about the fact that this year your team was without a sports psychologist, maybe not quite as entourage-filled perhaps, and he thought that as a result you guys were playing the game more crisply, with more confidence. Do you think he's fair in that assessment?
I think we were trying some things last year, and I'm sure some of it helped. I think maybe we got a little too focused on some of that stuff, and so we used what we could take from that last year, brought it forward to this year, and now I think we've got everything in our bag now, and we just got to go out there and focus on playing the game and not there's not much more we can improve upon. I think individually we all have to keep our practicing up and make sure if we have any weaknesses to work through them. But as a team on a whole, I think we just got to focus on playing the best we can when we're out playing teams.
Yeah, let's talk a little about the way the game you've called. In 2007 at the Scotties, I thought and I applauded you for it. You called about the most aggressive game on the ice. But almost at times I thought as if you were trying to demonstrate that women could play a real offensive style, and maybe to your detriment at times. The little bit I've seen on Curl TV this year, it seems like maybe you take a little more balanced approach these days. Tell me if I'm wrong or right.
No, you're right. I mean, I've always been extremely offensive, and it's been to a detriment.
Well, not offensive, Cheryl, but offensive-minded.
Offensive-minded. It's been to a detriment, I think, when you're out there. It's without the hammer that I think I've changed my game a fair bit. I go with, for it with the hammer, but I think without the hammer, I've changed the game, a fair bit. I let them push it, and I don't so much anymore, and I think that's actually helped, us a lot in when we don't have hammer.
Yeah, I mean, the force is just so much more important than a steal these days, isn't it?
It is, and I think that's probably something I had to start to, I knew it, but it was always, it's in my nature, and I always want to. I even like to steal. I want those points, and it's something I had to kind of tone down. Maybe with age, that's also helped.
Age and wisdom, we think, eh? Or age and forgetfulness, whatever, we get something. But you mentioned practice briefly. Your team is all Calgary-based. A lot of juniors always ask me how teams practice. What do you guys do when you have a team practice?
We play situational a lot. We will play, our coach will ask us from an event prior, did we have any issues? How did we do 1 up without coming home in 10? How did we do 1 down in 9? And so we'll play those situations over and over again, kind of against each other, and try to assess what the best way to approach those ends are. So we do that a lot in practice. Technical, we do lots of line of delivery with the National Training Center. We're always trying to fine-tune our delivery and make sure that we're throwing the best we can. And ice reading and sweeping, those are a ton of things that we'll work on in practices.
What about the time before a game? If I'm at the Scotties in Victoria, how do you guys use that time before a game?
Music. You're just kind of trying to stay loose. I think
music.
Yeah, me sick. We listen to our iPods.
No, what do you do when you're on the ice, though?
Oh,
the practice time on the ice.
Oh, basically, we're just trying to figure out spots in the ice. So
Okay.
I see hits going up for the one end because you've usually got two up and two back, so hits go in the one end just to check and see if there's any ridges or anything funny, and then we get our draw weight coming back. We all throw draws, and I just watch, how things will come around a center guard, how they'll go to the wings. That's the basic is what we'll do. It's not a lot of time, so.
Hey, how much more comfortable do you think your team will be this time than you were in 07?
Oh, I think it's huge. We tried in 07 to explain to Sue and Corey. Well, Carolyn hadn't been in 20 years, and I hadn't been in 11, and we tried kind of to explain to them, what it's like. It's impossible. You need to experience it, and you need to be there yourself. And so I think now we haven't even talked about it this time around. We're focused on playing. We know what we've got to do as a team, and it makes it a lot simpler that the four of us can go back together again.
You're in a pretty good position for the trials right now. A good showing at the Scotties would certainly set you up nicely. Lots of comments or thoughts this week and opinions on when Canada should pick its Olympic team. I've heard both sides, and I think it seems like it's almost split 50-50. Do you like the thought of the Olympic team being picked when it is now, or would you like to see it picked later this year?
Yeah, no, I don't like this way. I think it's hard on curling. I think you should pick a team and maybe a year or 2 years out and groom the team, one men's, one ladies team. I don't know how you would pick that team. That's definitely the toughest thing that the CCA would have to do. But I don't like this run and everybody's burning themselves out. I will be surprised to see how many people retire after 09. It's burning our curlers out. I think it's hurting events, the entries into events, and I'm not sure you're going to get your strongest team because they're going to have played in the trials in December and have to peak again in February. It's pretty tight.
Paul Webster's point was that if you pick the team, say, this year, and then they have all next year to play and get ready, they'll go out and lose. They'll have events where they won't do well, so what's their confidence like going into the Olympics? Which I can understand, but it seems to me it seems to me even now when they pick it, that team is going to play some events. I remember Brad Gushu not qualifying in a Grand Slam in Winnipeg before the Olympics. So all that's still happening in my mind.
Exactly. I'm not sure. I just think that maybe, I guess what the biggest thing is that if for the rest of the teams that aren't picked as that team, that we could actually go on and maybe, play, have events and focus on some other stuff, get back to focusing on the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. It would kind of, and maybe not having teams burn out so much because people are playing an incredible amount to get points, and nobody really understands the whole system. It's pretty convoluted. I don't think the average curling fan probably does.
No, that's why I have to say things like you're on the bubble. I'm not even exactly sure where you sit, to be honest. I've looked at
I'm not either, really, but I think, again, we've just decided to say, you know what, let's go out and do the best, and we'll see where the chips fall come April, because we won't know until the end of April until everything's done.
You bring up a lot of good points there, and I really think, I've come to believe, like I think like Wayne Maddaw voiced last year, that the Olympics is a blessing and a curse for curling. I love the fact that I can talk to people who don't know curling, and the game seems legitimate to them when you say it's in the Olympics. But boy, oh boy, it seems like you said, we're going to have one team that's going to be promoted next year. That's all people are going to know about. One women's team, one men's team, and the rest of Canadian curling sort of goes on without it. It just seems odd to me right now.
Well, and it is. Wayne's right. It's a blessing. Curling in the Olympics and the recognition that curling has, it's the people I talk to, it's incredible. I've got friends of my mom's that are all down in Phoenix, and the only reason they know about curling is because it's in the Olympics.
Well, yeah, it's on CNBC a lot.
Yeah, and that's great. Olympics is excellent. I'm just not sure that the way we're going about it, and I don't think there's a perfect system in any country. I just am not sure that this is the perfect system, and I'm sure they'll tweak it, each year and figure out better ways to do it. Nobody knows exactly what the right way is, but, I just am concerned that maybe we are burning out a lot of our curlers and spreading everybody really thin, and maybe just focusing on one or two teams might be the way to do it. The trials are going to be a fantastic event, and I think that's, for Canadians to watch, that's going to be a really, a great show there.
The thing that concerns me about the Olympics and curling, if you look through the Winter Olympics, there's a ton of other sports where the Olympics have not done a whole lot for it. Nobody's bobsleigh and luge and ice dancing don't have their participation numbers way up. So I think we expect too much of it for curling.
Well, I think we do too. I mean, I want to go to Canadians. My chances of going to an Olympics once every 4 years are pretty slim. I mean, I've got probably one of the better chances in the top, say, 10 in Canada to have a chance to go. But the thing I play for every year is the Scots, the Canadian Championships. I mean, as a kid, that's been a dream. Olympics wasn't. I mean, understandably, the sport wasn't in it. But, I still will always dream about the Canadians. That's kind of the pinnacle to me.
Well, that's good to hear. Hey, speaking of the Scotties and the event in Victoria, who do you think of the teams that have qualified? Who do you see in the top half?
Well, I mean, it's Heather Strong's team. They're always, I mean, the teams that get back a lot always make you nervous because they're getting pretty comfortable.
Yeah, but you know that if you lived in Newfoundland, you'd say you'd be there just about every year too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, oh, I hope so. And that, Jones is always going to be. Lawton's a definite tough team to play. Marie-France LaRouche, Barb Spencer, Manitoba, BC, Marla Mallet.
You're naming everyone, Cheryl. Come on, that's not fair. Here's what I'm going to go with. I say it's going to be Lawton, you, Krista McCarville, and Marie-France LaRouche in the top four.
Not even Jones, eh?
And I think I like Team Jennifer Jones a lot, but I think they're struggling. So that'll be my prediction.
Well, I hope you're right, and I hope we're up there. And once you get to playoffs, and that's kind of our focus. Let's get to playoffs, and then we'll refocus from there. That's kind of what we decided to do in the women's Alberta provincials as well, and it worked well.
All right, finally, the Canada Cup. You're in that. Better timing for the women than the men, right? The men play the week after the Brier. What do you think of that event?
Well, I loved the event before. I'm really happy it's moved. I think it had kind of died out in Kamloops, and I think Yorkton, they're telling me it's just about sold out, and it's going to be an unbelievable show. So I can't wait to go play somewhere where we've got some crowds.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been, good curling, but then the people of Kamloops, for whatever reason, didn't support it, that's for sure. Yeah. So it's nice to see it in a new location.
No, I think it'll be great. Hopefully we can't go because we'll be in Korea. So that's
all right, there you go.
That would be a really good problem to have.
All right, let me see. I got one more thought here. The Al Cameron this week reported, Al Cameron again of the Calgary Herald. You can tell I read a lot of what Al Cameron writes. He reported that there's a scoop that maybe there's a sponsor out there in Alberta who'd like to do some big curling sponsorship, but doesn't like the fact that there's three organizations. What do you think of that?
Well, unfortunately, I've been always one to try to get them. We've got way too many organizations in Alberta. They should amalgamate, and there should just be one. Should be just the ACF. I think SACA is in agreement to do that. I'm not sure NACA is. I'll say that straight out, and I think some pressure should be put on them to do it. I don't think this should continue, but the way it's been set up, NACA has to agree, SACA has to agree, and ACF and peace. So I think some pressure has to be put on NACA to get them to agree to amalgamate because, it's craziness what we've got here. I don't know any other province that does it this way.
I don't know if you're the only province with multiple organizations. It's bizarre to me, these provinces that have numerous organizations. Yeah. I think when you think of the doubling up of the bureaucracy and everything else, for that reason alone, we should get rid of them. But anyways.
Well, we pay too many people, and there's too many. It's just you're not getting all your strength into one association. Instead, it's just being spread thin, and there's fighting between NACA and SACA and peace, and it just doesn't seem to be in the best interest for the curlers.
Yeah, and then you talk about a corporate sponsor comes out and wonders who they should even talk to, and just decides, you know what, I'm not going to talk to anyone.
Because you guys are, that's really sad. That's sad for curling in Alberta if that's what's happened.
All right, we finished with the run back. Cheryl, I give you a topic, you give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words.
Okay.
Caitlin Laws joining Team Kathy King for the Canada Cup.
Oh, incredibly lucky for Kathy.
Yeah, I just noticed that, actually.
Wow, that's a fantastic pickup.
The struggles of Team Jennifer Jones this season.
I think complacency a bit, but they can come back.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think they'll do well in Victoria, honestly. That's my prediction, but I also wouldn't be surprised at all to see them be the Olympic Trials winner, the Roar of the Rings winner. So
yeah, exactly. I think they get a little bit, you can't focus on so many things, and I think their focus definitely is going to be the trials, and I think that's even been Scott's thing this year. You just can't focus on so many things. Yeah,
like you said, the burnout. In some ways they sort of might have looked at it and said, let's not burn out this year and just get ready for next year.
Yeah, and it worries it'll worry all of us. So.
Michael Phelps' bong hit.
I think Kellogg's is crazy. They should keep him on, and he's hurting no one. Kids make mistakes.
23 years old, I guess, and
give him a
geez, the guy spent 16 hours a day in the pool for the last 4 years. So
yeah, I mean, just give him a break. It's not like he's doing that all the time.
Yeah. How about A-Rod and his steroids, though?
Yeah. You know what? Come forth and admit what you've done. I mean, he got caught, and say what you've done and live with the consequences. Maybe they should lose a year's salary. That might be a good motivation not to. Yeah,
I think we got to wipe the record books clean for a few years here. Curling and the level of fitness among curlers.
Improving incredibly. We all train. Look at Martin's team, Furby's team. I mean, the women's team. It's getting a lot better. It's
big for you, right? I mean, you seem to be the one who's a female curler who's really committed to fitness.
Yeah, our entire team is committed to training and fitness, and we think it's incredibly important. I think when you're out there in a 3-game day, and mentally, it might not be physically, but mentally you're getting exhausted, your fitness is going to come into play.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think even at skip, even skips need to be physically fit, because being physically fit keeps you mentally fit, like you said.
Well, and I sweep really hard those 3 feet.
Oh, yeah, you pound it there, Cheryl, I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, whatever. Brazil's challenge of the U.S. for the Americas spot in the men's worlds.
Oh, yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Mark Johnson wearing U.S. colors at the 2010 games, a possibility.
Awesome. I love that. I love Mark, and I think good for him. Go for it.
Your rivalry with Shannon Kleibrink.
Great lady. It's good to have her in Alberta.
None of that personal animosity that we've had with Martin and Furby, I think, but it's a good rivalry, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's good. It's always fun. The games are always good.
And finally, the entertainment schedule at the Tim Hortons Calgary Briar.
Can't wait. I'm going to be right in the middle of it.
You're going to be there, are you? Well, it looks like they have a little more modern lineup, though. I still think they should have talked to that band, the Rural Alberta Advantage, though. These guys are incredible. They're great.
It's going to be good. I can't wait for the Briar. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be there the whole 10 days.
All right, Cheryl. I give everybody a chance to name their sponsors, so let me know who's backing your team.
Atlantic Directional, Fats Bar and Grill. We've got Friday Professional Group and Pro Drill Fluid Technologies. Those are our sponsors.
Well, if I need any fluid technology, I know who I'm going to call now. That's Pro Drill.
Pro Drill.
At least that's better, though, than the CCA. They're going to give you that little scroll during the Scotties, right?
So. God, like for 2 seconds. I still think we need to be able to wear a sponsored cresting there. But
something, yeah. But anyways, well, you know what? I always say that, but I do have to give the CCA credit for creating 2 franchise events in the Scotties and the Briars and the Tim Hortons Briars. So we can't always complain about cresting, but I do think a bit more cresting needs to get in there, that's for sure.
Well, they have improved it with the Canada Cup this year. You do get to wear your jackets and all your crests, so we were really happy to see that.
Oh, really? There's not going to be those designated Canada Cup unis?
No.
Oh, good.
No.
The thing is, too, those always kind of sucked, those uniforms, too. I mean, they were like...
You lose your identity that you work for all year to obtain as a team.
Yeah. I never understand. You take, like, this group of elite athletes, they show up, and here's some shirts to wear. What if you don't like them? What if they don't fit right? Whatever.
Yeah, no, and trust me, lots of them don't. I've used a pair of scissors
really?
to my advantage to get things to fit.
The women's clothing is usually especially tragic.
Oh, yes, it's just bags.
Yeah. But it's improved a bit, though. But you only have to go back and look at, like, your 96 appearance to know how far women's curling clothing has come.
Yeah, I love those pants.
Yeah. All right, Cheryl. Well, good luck in Victoria and the rest of the season.
Thanks so much, Dean. Take care.
That's Cheryl Bernard on The Curling Show. 2 quick thoughts before I go. Facebook group. Join it. Donations, make one. Thanks, as always, for listening.